Today I'm making roasted chicken stuffed with a delicious pan sausage dressing. This is going to be good. Okay, so I'm going to get started with my dressing or stuffing. I'm working with 1.5 sticks of celery. I also have 3 cloves of garlic that I'm going to mince, 1 small onion that I'm going to dice, and half of a large bell pepper. I'm also working with Montreal chicken seasoning. You can season this how you like, and I'm going to be adding some rubbed sage into the mix. I'm also working with 1 pound of regular pan sausage. Okay, so in a cold pan, I'm going to add my sausage. I kind of broke it apart. That makes things easier. I'm going to turn on the heat and I'm going to add some water. This technique will help to render most of the fat that's in the pan sausage. So water going in. I know it looks strange, but trust the process. So I'm going to start breaking this apart and cooking it through. By the way, if you don't want to add pork sausage into your dressing or stuffing, you can skip this. It's still good without it. And they even have sage sausage you can purchase. Okay, so I'm working with a 16-ounce baguette of French bread, and I'm just going to slice and toast this. Now, if I had this in my cupboard or pantry for about 2 days, I think that'll dry it out a lot better. But since I purchased this yesterday, I'm going to cube it up and I'm going to toast it in the oven. You want to make sure that it's kind of stale or toasty. That really works well for a dressing or stuffing. So I'm going to put it in a single layer on a large baking sheet. And I'm going to toast this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes. At this point, my pan sausage is cooked through, and as you can see, it did render some of that fat. So now I'm just going to add my onion, bell pepper, and celery. I'm going to saute this. If you need to add a little cooking oil or butter, I understand that, but I think there's enough fat to do the trick. I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt to help sweat and saute the onion, bell pepper, and celery. And take your time with this. I'm working with a medium heat. Once the onions are translucent, I'm going to add the garlic, and I'm also going to season with my seasonings. I like to say the ratios and amounts are up to you. I'm going to add a teaspoon of each of these, and if I need to adjust that after mixing it, I will do that. Salt and seasoning is to your taste and preference. So I'm going to saute this for an additional 3 to 5 minutes, and this is done. It's time to remove my bread cubes from the oven, and they definitely have toasted, and this is exactly what I want to work with. And like I said, 2 to 3 day old bread also works. Okay, so I want you to hear how toasty these are, and I always like to taste the bread. Okay, so I'm going to add this into a large mixing bowl because I'm going to put together the stuffing. I'm just going to add all of that cooked pan sausage and veggies into the mix. I also chopped fresh parsley, around 2 tablespoons. Now I'm going to just sprinkle some sage, a little bit more of that Montreal chicken seasoning, and I'm going to give this a mix. Now, to stuff the chicken, I'm not going to add the liquid just yet. It's going to go in dry into the chicken. So I'm going to reserve some in a small bowl, and this is what's going into my chicken. Here I have close to a 4-pound whole chicken. I rinsed it in cold water. I plucked some of those like feathers that end up on the wings. So what I'm going to do is prep it, and I'm going to lock the wings towards the back of the chicken or underneath, just like that. And what I'm going to do now is season the inside of the cavity. Again, I'm going with simple today. I love Montreal chicken seasoning. You can use what you prefer. Now with my clean hands, I'm just going to stuff the chicken. And you don't want to pack it because it will expand as it cooks. And you want to make sure there's enough room for it to expand and kind of get air and heat in through the cavity as you roast the chicken. So I'm doing a poor job, by the way. It's going everywhere. But I'm also going to stuff the neck cavity as well. Now there's not tons of room in there, but you can work in some stuffing there. So I want to mention, if you are roasting chicken, whether it's stuffed or just regular unstuffed, you want to make sure you take the chill off of the chicken and thaw completely. I let my chicken sit on the countertop for about 30 to 40 minutes to take the chill off. This will ensure that it cooks evenly and it stays tender. So I suggest you do that. So I've trussed the legs to keep them together. Everything is stuffed just like this. And the way you season and dress your chicken is up to you. If you want to do seasoning and butter underneath the skin where the chicken breast is at, you definitely can do that. I am actually just using avocado oil on the exterior. This is very simple. I love this method, especially for a weeknight meal. And I'm just going to slather that on the exterior, and I'm going to place it in a cast iron skillet. This is where I'm going to bake it. And again, when you're roasting chicken, go ahead and layer some veggies underneath it. That works as well, especially if you're going to do a pan gravy. But I'm just going with the chicken. So now I'm just going to liberally sprinkle on that chicken seasoning. Again, it's up to you how you want to season your chicken. And I like salt-free lemon pepper as well for the chicken skin. And there are so many methods of seasoning and prepping a chicken. This is just the simple way that I like to do it. So I'm going to get underneath the thigh just like that. And there it is. This is it. It is stuffed, dressed, and ready to go. Okay, so for the rest of the stuffing, I'm working with chicken broth. This actually has sodium in it, so if you're using low sodium or unsalted, you'll have to adjust the seasoning. So into 3 cups of broth, I'm adding 1 large egg, and I'm going to combine that well. Now you could scale back on the liquid in this dressing, but I like it to be crunchy on top and tender or soft in the middle. So I'm pouring that all over the rest of my stuffing mix, and a 1/4 cup of melted butter is going in. And you'll notice even after I combine and mix this, it has a lot of just broth sitting there. That's okay, because I'm going to bake this in a buttered cast iron skillet uncovered. So it'll definitely evaporate and have time to just soak into all of those dry bread cubes. Now, if you don't like mushy stuffing or dressing, then scale back on the liquid ratio. Maybe start with 2 cups. That works. So I'm just going to spread this out, kind of give it a mix. And I have my oven preheated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to bake this side by side, the chicken and the dressing. So the chicken goes in first, carefully. And then I'm going to add, or my husband, he likes to help, he's going to add the dressing on the side. The chicken's going to take 20 minutes per pound stuffed at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to be about 1 hour and 20 minutes for that, and 1 hour for the stuffing. Okay, I'm making cream peas to go with today's meal, and I will at some point post the recipe video for that. But for those of you that ask what kind of side I'm serving, creamed peas. Okay, so it has been 1 hour of cook time, and the dressing on the side is done. And the chicken has more cook time, so I'm going to let that go. But check this out. It is just, perfect. Okay, so here's the thing with roasting chicken in the oven that's stuffed. You want to make sure the internal temp of the stuffing reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to let this rest for about 30 minutes before cutting into it. And once it has rested, I'm just going to use my kitchen shears to cut pieces. That's how tender and well cooked this roasted chicken is. Check this out, just with kitchen shears. Now, of course, they are sharp, but I'm going for a leg today. I love the leg and wing, by the way. And I'm just going to scoop some of that pan dressing, or you can use the stuffing that's inside the chicken, but I'm saving that for my husband. He loves that. So I'm going to add a leg to this plate and ladle on those cream peas. And this is dinner. It's so cozy and comforting, and my family loves it. And I'm also going to show you what the stuffing on the inside looks like. Like I said, my husband is going to eat this. He loves stuffed chicken, and he loves the stuffing. And it's wonderful. It smells like the holidays in my kitchen. I love this dinner. And I want to show, for those of you that want to see the chicken breast, it is moist, tender, and juicy. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it. And thanks for watching.